Is number 14?
Yes. Yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
The March 5th, 2019 meeting of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners will come to order, and we are pleased to have Ginger Dees here this morning from Information Services to lead us in our invocation. And after the invocation, please remain standing for the pledge to the flag.
Hold on.
You can pause, Madam Chair.
Okay, I want to pause. We're having technical difficulty.
Yep,
Right, hold on, give him 1 second. He can fix it right now.
Okay.
no problem. No issues.
My friend, check the others. Check the others.
Testing 1, 2. Is that better?
Yes. All right.
You want your team to start over? You want to start it over? Want me to start it over?
I think you're already live though. So
I'm live.
just
Okay.
keep-
All right. Thank you so much. We will, Ms. Dees, thank you for coming forth with the invocation this morning.
We're going to stand.
We'll stand, please, for the invocation. And please remain standing for the pledge to the flag.
Dear Heavenly Father, I come before you this morning thanking you for this privilege, Lord, to stand before you and in this particular forum before the Douglas County Board of Commissioners meeting. God, I ask that you would counsel each member of this Board of Commissioners as they make decisions that affect the citizens of this county. God, that you would help them to make decisions that would be in the good for the county, but also that would honor and bring you glory, Lord. I ask you to give us courage to always make the right decisions, Lord, and to base that right on you and on your word, to choose what's right over what's easy. And Lord, I ask you to give us a love in our hearts for others, that we can serve them with the right heart and the right attitude. I thank you for this privilege again, Lord. I ask you to go with us, to lead, guide, and direct us in all that we do. In Christ's name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. Dees, again for coming in and rendering such a wonderful invocation this morning. And again, good morning to the citizens of Douglas County, and we appreciate you joining us in person and live today if you're watching by TV. We have any public comment this morning, Clerk?
Yes, we had one sign in.
Okay. We have a public comment from one of our citizens, Mr., or should I say Professor John Tomasky has a comment. Mr. Tomasky, please come forth. And I ask that you please limit your comment to 3 minutes, and your comment must be germane to the agenda today. And I will allow you 3 minutes, and when you get to that 3-minute mark, you'll hear our little buzzer, and if I just ask that you wrap up your thoughts. You may start, Mr. Tomasky, or Professor Tomasky.
Thank you. Good morning to all.
Good morning.
I was invited to a meeting of a civic organization yesterday, and there was concern there about maintaining the integrity of county governance. Specifically, the concern was about a bill, Georgia Senate 154, which would presume to give the state the authority to question the voters' choice of certain elected county officials. And it was the feeling of the group, to my understanding, which I confirmed with the chairman of that meeting, that it would be appreciated if one of the 5 members of the body here today would consider making a motion to the effect of a resolution to petition the state delegation for Douglas County to vote against Bill 154. Certain local governments have already stated as governments their displeasure with this bill. And it will erode not only sovereignty, it will erode the very structure of government, because no particular policy issue can prevail over maintaining the structure and process of a government. Once you harm structure and process, you no longer have a just and efficient mechanism of addressing any particular issue. So on that basis, myself and others of like mind in the county would very much appreciate passing a resolution to be sent to the delegation through its leader, Representative Bruce, to that effect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Tomasky. We will take this matter under advisement. Next, Board of Commissioners, we have the approval of the minutes. Board of Commissioners, you have the commission meeting minutes of February 19, 2019, the work session minutes of February 18, 2019, and the executive session minutes of February 18, 2019. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions that need to be made?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And being none, the minute stands as approved. First on our agenda this morning, we have the honor of a proclamation coming forth. This proclamation will be read by Mrs. Patty Puckett. Ms. Puckett, if you could come forth, and I believe you have some members with you today, do you? If you would like to, they can stand beside you while you read it. This proclamation is proclaiming the month of March as Arts, Culture, and Humanities Month in Douglas County.
Good morning. Well, on behalf of the Cultural Arts Council, as its president, and those with me this morning from the Douglas County Connection, and our next president, Maisha, and our city councilman, thank you for being here. I would like to read this proclamation. The Douglas County Board of Commissioners, Douglas County Arts, Culture, and Humanities Month proclamation. Whereas the Board of Commissioners are committed to promoting the arts, culture, and humanities in the Douglas County community, and whereas the arts, culture, and humanities embody much of the accumulated wisdom, intellect, and imagination of humankind, and whereas the arts, culture, and humanities enhance and enrich the lives of every American, and whereas the arts, culture, and humanities play a unique role in the lives of our families, our communities, and our country, and whereas the nonprofit arts industry also strengthens our national economy by generating $166.3 billion in total economic activity annually, $27.54 billion in government revenue, and by supporting the full-time equivalent of 4.6 million jobs. And whereas the creative economy drives tourism and commerce, supports American workers, and makes up 4.2% of the annual GDP, now therefore be it resolved, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim March as Arts, Culture, and Humanities Month in Douglas County and call upon our citizens to celebrate and promote the arts, culture, and humanities in our community, and to specifically encourage the greater participation by those said citizens in taking action for the arts, culture, and humanities in their community. So proclaimed this 5th day of March, 2019.
Wow, thank you so much. I must say that the Board of Commissioners, we're very proud of what the arts and cultures and humanities are doing here in Douglas County. When I say that, the emphasis that you're putting on enriching the lives of others, and also you have a national recognition from the National Association of the County Commissioners, and you were being discussed actually this week. So we are so excited. I said, look at Douglas County moving just nationally. So I appreciate everything that you all are doing, and the Board of Commissioners likewise do. Board of Commissioners, anybody have a comment about all this, the great things that's going on with arts and culture and Humanities in Douglas County. Okay.
Do.
Commissioner Carthen?
Just because I've had interaction with you all, the outstanding job that you do over at the Cultural Arts Center is amazing. The artwork that you display, the artists that you bring in on a monthly basis, it is just amazing. And I had the opportunity to take my 16-year-old by the last exhibit that you had, and it inspired her. So I just want to say kudos. Thank you for what you're doing. It does add to the quality of life here in Douglas County. I yield.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. We completely appreciate your support, and thank you so much, and we're excited to move forward together.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, Board of Commissioners, you have heard the proclamation. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes.
That's not my fault.
We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. Congratulations. And we would like to come down and take a photograph with you. So
Thank
we'll
you.
come down. All right, Board of Commissioners, thank you. Wow, what an honor for the proclamation to recognize March as Arts and Culture and Humanities Month in Douglas County. Next, we will be moving to new business items. The first item is appointment of Mrs. Peggy Childers as Resident Commissioner to the Douglas County Housing Authority effective immediately. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve Mrs. Peggy Childers?
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion about this appointment? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes.
All righty. Boom, shakalaka-laka.
We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. So congratulations to Ms. Peggy Childers on her appointment as the resident commissioner to the Douglas County Housing Authority. Commissioners, next we have 2 items that I would like to call a motion to table, which is tab number 6 and 7. And those items are authorization to create a new juvenile programs position for juvenile justice, incentive grant program manager. And tab number 7 reads, I'm just giving you the abbreviated point of view, is authorization to approve a contract for Christine Callahan for the project manager. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to table this matter at this time?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
To any particular time frame, or we're just going to leave it
We want to table
until the next
County
meeting?
Administrator to our next meeting, which would be March 19th? Is it 19th, clerk? So March 19th, so we'll table it until March 19th. We have a few things we're still working out on this matter. So it's not tabled permanently, Board of Commissioners. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Please cast your votes.
Well, we got to do it.
All in favor, please indicate by raising your hand saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed, the same, and the motion carries. Okay.
Point of order, Madam Chair. Oh, point of order? Yes. Madam Chair, if I'd like to make a motion that we remove from the consent agenda item number 14
Okay,
and to the meeting of March, well, remove it from the consent agenda first, I guess I should say.
okay.
And that would be my motion, I guess.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. It's tab number 14, Commissioners. It's authorization for the Juvenile Public Defender's Office to hire full-time legal support staff for 2 attorneys with benefits and amend the budgets. So, Commissioner, any discussion, first of all, any discussion on this? Commissioner Guider.
If we remove it from the consent agenda, we will then vote on whether or not to table it to
That's
another
correct.
meeting.
That's correct.
All right.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please indicate by raising your hand saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. If all opposed, the same, and the motion carries. So thank you.
And now, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to table this item for the March 19th, if I'm correct in that, March 19th meeting of 2019.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Commissioner Guider?
And somebody will probably have to refresh my memory, but there was one item for the juvenile court that was very time-sensitive. Something was happening in April. Was it this one, or?
No, ma'am, I don't think that is this one. This is they're requesting a new employee.
Hire, yes.
But was it one of the grant?
No, ma'am, not this one.
It wasn't this one, but was it one of the others that we just voted on? I just remember
No, ma'am, the other
them
two we just
saying it was
voted
very
on.
time-sensitive because they, I believe it was their court. Maybe I'm wrong. It's from
The other two.
yesterday.
The other two we just voted on, I just checked with juvenile admin, and it will not affect the grant.
So, okay, so this is okay with them?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right, thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please indicate by raising your right hand. Saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed, the same, and the motion carries. All right, now we'll get
Yep.
down to business. We'll move to, so that by me removing tabs 6 and 7, we go straight into the consent agenda. And please remember, all items are subject to legal review. Tab number 8, authorization to renew the agreement with Republic Services for transportation and disposable, or should I say, disposal, municipal solid waste, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 9, authorization to approve a task order number 2019-1 with Atlantic Coast Consulting in the amount of $37,850 for assistance with preparing 5-year solid waste permit update as mandated by Georgia EPD, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 10, authorization to advertise for a public hearing to consider amending Chapter 5 of the Douglas County Code of Ordinances related to animal control. Tab number 11, authorization to purchase 2 replacement park security vehicles using 2016 SPLOST equipment funds at a total cost of $53,328 as recommended by the Parks and Recreation Oversight Committee. Tab number 12, authorization to approve a contract with Atlanta West Pentecostal Church for use of its facilities for a polling place for precinct number 1270, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Tab number 13, authorization to apply for state Georgia Accountability Court Funding Program fiscal year 20 from the Council of Accountability Court Judges, CACJ, the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, CJCC, in the amount of $91,285. Tab number 15, authorization to accept a grant from National Association of VOCA Assistance Administrators, NAVAA, in the amount of $5,305, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents and amend the budget if necessary. And last but not least, tab number 16, authorization to approve a contract with Angel Brook Contreras for the Assistant Public Defender in State Court, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Board of Commissioners, that concludes our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on any particular item? Chairman Robinson. Vice Chairman Robinson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is Director Jenkins here?
Director Jenkins, yeah, he's here. Yes.
Please come on down. Let's talk about Atlantic Coast Consult. Just give a little bit more background for the, give some more background for the public's sake on what.
He didn't hear you, Vice Chairman. Can you
Yeah.
restate that?
Welcome. Atlantic Coast Consulting, give a little bit of background on what we're doing here.
Yes, sir, I will. This item has to do with legislative approval that goes on to EPD, which this is the first time they've done it. It's a 5-year permit review update. Douglas County has not had one, or for that matter, nobody in the state's had one. And ours, last one was in 1987 when the permit was issued. That's 30-some odd years ago. What they want to do, the regulators want to regulate everything. And this has to do with the 1,000-acre site we have out there, plus what's permitted. And at the same time, we're right in the midst of looking at privatization or partial privatization, and it'll happen every 5 years. Hopefully, the consultant fee won't be as much after year 1, but it's every 5 years. So.
And thank you, that was good enough. I mean, I just wanted to give context. You know, in obviously in the media, in the major market, we know there's landfills have issues from time to time.
Yes, sir.
I'm not certain what county is irrelevant, but they catch on fire, things happen, they're toxic, all the above. And we've got a pretty large one at 1,000 acres. So I understand why EPD does what it does. I understand regulatory, because things happen, and we want to keep ourselves safe. So I appreciate that. As it relates to the consulting fee, again, you believe that you could, we talked about this in the work session, again, just for the record, for education's sake. the amount that you have here, we believe we can cover?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay. And so I'm fine with that. You have discretion, Director. You're going to make it work, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Another. Secondly, Atlantic Coast Consulting. We've used them in the past?
I'm sorry?
We've used them in the past?
We have. They've
Okay.
been with us a long time.
Okay. And again, professional services firm, I'm laying down a foundation for future. Atlantic Coast Consulting, professional services firm, did we bid this out? How do we pick them?
It's done by not particularly financial. It has to do with their ability to communicate with EPD.
Yep.
Their reputation, their size of the staff.
Okay.
Even though we do have 1,000 acres out there,
Yeah.
we've only got about 80 acres permitted.
I see.
So we don't particularly need a firm as 200 engineers and geologists. So we pick through whatever seems to be a good fit, whatever has held us together with EPD. If you'll recall, we went out and received proposals about 2 to 3 years ago and picked another firm.
And again, we have a couple members that weren't here 3 years ago, and I wanted to make sure I'm
Right.
laying
Sure.
down history. All right, so we picked Atlantic Coast Consulting. They, based on qualifications,
That's correct.
they weren't the biggest or the baddest. In essence, we thought that they could fit, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, I appreciate your honesty. Okay, and I believe while you said it's a 5-year process, and I know we're going through this in parallel, privatization consideration. You're comfortable that this firm is really leading that up as well, or at least positioned to help us with that? They can do both at the same time and not be in conflict, or what do you think?
They can. The state, actually, we're going down to EPD Thursday. They set down guidelines
Okay.
to follow.
Okay.
And so we go through this process. It's a 120-day process to have this introduced to EPD for their review. So it's quite a complex undertaking, but at the same time, they can use a geologist and an engineer.
Okay.
And they may sub it out and ask for another consultant to come in and look at it from a different set of eyes.
Right.
I think it's a 126-page document to follow their guidelines.
So they may subcontract to have some type of subordinated contract or subcontract to help facilitate a certain part of the work.
That's true. Yes, sir.
All right, that's fine. Now, I'm just getting a feel for sort of how we did this one, because again, we don't get to talk to you very often, but the landfill is important. It's something that we really don't get into a lot. So I appreciate you coming up and taking the time for that. Madam Chair, I just wanted to ask some questions and lay down a foundation for the official record. I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you.
So much. Commissioner Guider?
Yes, ma'am. Director Jenkins, this $38,000 fee for this consulting firm, did y'all have, from EPD, did you have any warning that this was going to be implemented? Or when did they pass the law or the ruling or whatever? Was it late?
It actually came out of the legislature in late November or early December. Now,
Of what year?
18.
2018?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have an association or a group of colleagues that monitors?
That lobbies on our behalf.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
I just wondered why we couldn't have gotten it put off 1 year, at least so it could be a budgeted item, because by then, our budget was already set, and yours was too. So
Right.
it was kind of dropped on us without any kind of warning from EPD. And these are the things that, governments are concerned about.
Sure.
These unfunded mandates that they pass down to us.
Good terminology, that's what we call it in the industry.
Yes,
Unfunded mandate.
But you didn't know it was coming until, I guess you were notified by EPD recently.
At the end of the year.
At the end of the
18.
year, after your budget was already set.
We start preparing our budget in August. So this mandate came down in late November, early December, so it was too late to go back in and say, we need $40,000 more, especially when we operate on our revenue. As people come through the scale house and they pay their fee, the commercial haulers come through, they pay their fee. We don't even know what that amount is until the first quarter of the next year. However, over the years, we've tried to hedge that a little bit by saying we're going to put this in the budget as a contingency in case. And I think I mentioned it yesterday. Last year, 2017, I believe it was, one of our monitoring wells, 2 of them went dry. Well, that just means we got to put 2 more in. They don't say, do you have the money? They don't say, what's your process? And if it doesn't happen, then you become out of compliance. And if you stay out of compliance, then they can put a consent order through the court and say, you have to do this much by this period of time. And believe me, there's plenty of landfills, transfer stations that are in a court order.
So
They have to do something.
you were given notice in like November, early December, and so you set up a contingency fund to your best estimate because you had not talked to anybody about the consulting for.
That's correct.
fee.
Over the years, we've realized we better put some contingency in there, just in case. If there's some unknown factor that comes up.
And that's your rainy day fund, I guess, for unexpected things
Yes,
that
ma'am.
pop up. Okay, I just wondered why your association or whoever, your lobbyist, could not have gotten EPD to, did they even try to get it set back at least another year?
They do, however, EPD is not very negotiable.
Well, they're bureaucracy.
I know.
They're not elected, that's why.
That's correct.
Okay, I yield back.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Guidi. Any other discussion?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Just a couple of items, and Gary, you've said enough, so you're good. I'll ask while she comes to the forefront on item number 10, but I'm done with you. Yeah, you're good.
Thank you.
Frances McMillan, Director Frances McMillan, as she come forth, but while she's coming forth, can we speak on, and Mark, this may be more of you with the moving of item number 12, the precincts, what effect, how we will be notifying those that are in those precincts, how that process will kind of go. Just for the record, I know we did it yesterday in the work session, but just for the record so people know that this will be in this particular election cycle, how they will be notified, and that I think the next round or two in 2020, how they will be notified and where this particular precinct is located, so if you would.
Yes, and this one's located right around the corner from the previous
Previous one.
precinct that actually closed.
Right.
And it's my understanding from Mr. Kidd's discussion yesterday that voter registration will notify everyone in that precinct
That's correct.
of the new location.
And then we will notify everybody in that precinct for 2019, and then in 2020, we'll send out another notice to the entire county, correct?
Yes.
About this new precinct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, all righty. Okay, thank you for that. And now, on to about my animals and making sure that they're all well taken care of, so, and the job well done, I must say. Can you just explain again about this particular item, what you'll be doing and kind of that whole process, and then explain to us, you know, because it was really nice, your animation of the difference of the cats and how they respond and react, which I thought was very unique. So can you explain that to us at least once again for the record, please?
Yes, we're considering adding an ordinance that would
Yeah.
define community cats.
Right.
And community cats are cats that don't necessarily belong to anybody, and they're feral. And feral cats are unsocialized cats. This ordinance changes would allow us to define this and also operate in accordance with policies and procedures written by the Animal Control Department that can be flexible to suit our needs now and into the future with the feral cat problem that we have in the county. They're already there. This ordinance would allow us to return them to where they're already living, healthy, vaccinated, which protects the public against rabies and protects other animals against diseases that cats carry. And it would also prevent them from breeding, as they would be sterilized when they would return. A feral cat, as I said yesterday, you know, sweet cats, they come in the big eyes, they're fluffy, they're happy, and a feral cat is unsocialized. So when we trap them, they have football heads, and their ears are back, and they're not happy with the world. So they're quite angry, and they're not able to be readily socialized. Some of them never are able to be socialized. So this would allow us to return them to their environment. We only consider euthanasia at the shelter if we determine through a veterinarian or behavioral exam that an animal's condition is untreatable and the animal has little to no chance of an acceptable quality of life. Feral cats do have the chance to have an acceptable quality of life if we return them to their environment vaccinated and altered so they can't reproduce. Last year we lost 316 cats, and I think we could have them saved with an acceptable quality of life, and this ordinance would enable us to do that.
Good, good, good. I just want you to kind of repeat all that, which was job well done, so that, you know, for the record, what we're doing and how much we care about our animals, dogs, cats, and fish, and others, you know, so, but thank you again, and I'll yield back, Madam Chair. That's all I have, but thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. Miller, and thank you, Commissioner Mitchell. That was great. Any other discussion before we move on? Well, we have a motion and a second. Board of Commissioners, please prepare to cast your votes regarding this consent agenda. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. I would like our Director of Communications to come forth. We have a few announcements, and then I'll yield to all the commissioners to see if they have any announcements as well. Thank you for rendering our general announcements, Director Martin.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners, staff, and the general public. Pleasure to be here. We have a number of announcements, just like earlier today when we delivered the proclamation for Arts, Culture, and Humanities Month. Douglas County Arts, Culture, and Humanities Month will include multiple events throughout the month, such as the Art of Mardi Gras. And there's an event happening this evening at 7 o'clock at Blue Rose Art Bistro, located at 6774 Broad Street. Next event to mention, the Douglas County Communications and Community Relations Department, through the Board of Commissioners, will be hosting an art reception for the annual Youth Art Month exhibit today. The event features artwork by K through 12 students here in Douglas County, and it'll be held from 4:30 to 6 p.m. upstairs on the 3rd floor in the Courthouse Art Gallery exhibit area. All are invited to attend. The Woody Fight Center, in conjunction with the Waymark Camp, is hosting a benefit concert luncheon Friday, March 15th, Friday, March 15th, to raise money for scholarships for children to attend camp. Cost is $10, and ticket includes spaghetti lunch and a concert presented by Linwood Howard and Debbie Murph. It's happening at the Woody Fight Center. The Douglas County Special Olympics annual event will take place at New Manchester High School, one of the most popular events that we have where people attend. It's happening at 4925 Highway 92, 166 on April 4th. Track and field events for individuals with special needs in Douglas County are invited. The event is open to the public, and all are encouraged to attend. Just in case of rain, there is a rain date, which is the next day, April 5th. And that'll be all for the announcements. And just want to remind everyone to visit celebratedouglascounty.com, government's website, for full details of ongoing events. Thank you, Madam Chair, and the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you so much, Director Martin, for those announcements. Board of Commissioners, do you have any announcements that you would like to provide to the citizens? Commissioner Guider.
I just have a question. We tabled item 14. Well, we didn't table it. We removed it from the consent agenda. Do we need to make a motion to?
We tabled it.
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Yes.
I thought she said to just remove it from the consent agenda.
I said to remove it. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Commissioner Mitchell called for removal. He made a motion, and then after that, then we actually tabled. So we did. We had two motions.
But did we give a specific date as to when?
Yes,
it
we
would be
did.
tabled?
We said March 19th.
Okay. I can't hear you.
Yeah, March 19th.
It's hard to hear across.
Yeah, March
and the
19th.
hammering and everything.
I know with the drilling and, yeah, it's
Okay.
making me not read so well this morning because I'm
Okay.
trying to listen to the hammer and read. But anyway, yes, March 19th, Commissioner.
All right, thank you.
Guider. All right. If there's no other discussion, we will do the following. Commissioners, we have a planning and zoning meeting today at 6 p.m. So at this time, we will go into recess, and we will return at 6 p.m. So thank you. This meeting is
Recess.
This meeting is in recess. We will return at 6 p.m. Thank you.